Hi guys, my name is Bas and welcome to episode number 7 of my art tutorials here on YouTube. First of all, if this video is helpful to you in any way, shape or form, then please leave a like on this video and furthermore subscribe to this YouTube channel. I want to make this channel grow as much as possible so every single subscription counts. I do recommend watching my previous R videos because they explain a lot on R and RStudio, how does it work, what are the basics, but you're not obligated to do so because I'll explain the most important things in this video as well. So we are gonna get started today on advanced selecting and filtering options, because I've in previous episodes shown the simple steps in which you can select and filter, but there are more sophisticated ways of doing so, which I will be showing you guys today. We're gonna be using a package called the tidyverse as always. So the first thing we're gonna do is library and then between brackets tidyverse. Tidyverse, and then run it. If you haven't installed this package already, then go and watch episode 1 in which I explain how to install packages. We're going to work today with a dataset which is called Star Wars. So first of all, we're going to view the Star Wars dataset by selecting view and then Star Wars. And then if we take a look, we can see that it's a dataset with names, height, mass, hair color, skin color, eye color, birth year, sex, gender, homeworld, species, and films, and some other ones which are less important. So this is the dataset which we will be working with today, and you have access to it as well. That's why you need to install the tidyverse. And the regular way in which we would select, for example, mass and height, would be by typing Star Wars, then the pipe operator by pressing Ctrl-Shift-M, and then select, and then between brackets mass and height, with a comma in between those. And then press the pipe operator again, so Ctrl-Shift-M, and then select view to make it a bit easier to interpret. If we would then press Ctrl-Enter to run it, then we would select only the two variables mass and height. And you can see that it has selected all of them. So this is the easiest way to select certain variables, which I've shown in previous episodes. But today we're also going to take a look at how you can select more than them, and how to do that in an easy fashion. So what we're going to do is, we're going to start with Star Wars, obviously. Star Wars is the dataset we'll be working with, and then the pipe operator, and then select, and then open bracket. And the first thing we want to do is we want to select the second, and then the colon, until the fourth variable. So in this way, we select the second, the third, and the fourth variable out of the dataset. Then we press a comma, then we go ends with, and then we want all the variables which end with, in between brackets, in between quotation marks, color. So hair color, skin color, and eye color. And then a comma after you have to close the bracket and then press a comma. We also want the ones that starts with, and then in between brackets, in between quotation marks, birth, and then a comma again, and we want the ones that contains star, and then close the brackets twice, and then do the pipe operator again, and then press enter, and then we want to view the whole thing. So what we want to do, we're going to work with the Star Wars dataset, and we want to select the second, third, and fourth variable. We want the variables which end with color. We want the variables that start with birth, and we want those characters which contains star in it. And then we press Ctrl Enter, and we get a new dataset, and we can see that it has selected the second, the third, and the fourth variable. Furthermore, it has the ones which end with color, so hair color, skin color, eye color. We have the ones that start with birth, being birth year, and we have selected the one which included star, being starships. So that's the way in which you can use advanced selection methods in R. I hope this was helpful. If it wasn't, then please leave a comment underneath this video, and I'll try to answer your question. So we can also go and look into a bit more sophisticated ways on how to use filters. Because the easiest way which you would use filters would be really easy. You would, for example, be using the Star Wars dataset again, then the pipe operator, and then select only the height variable, and then the pipe operator again, and then we would use the filter, for example, height is higher than 170, and then close the bracket, pipe operator, and view. And then Ctrl Enter, and then we would get only the height, so we use the select tool to select only the height variable, and we can see that all the values, so it has only selected the values which are higher than 170. So that's how the easiest way that you can filter, but there are other ways in which you can filter and make it a bit more complicated, and also how you can filter categorical values, because what we just did was filter by numeric values, which is obviously quite easy, but there are also ways in which you can select categorical values, because if we take a look at the Star Wars dataset, you can see that, for example, if we look at species, we can see humans, droids, Wookiee, Rhodian, Hutt, Yoda species. There's a lot of different species, and we can also filter by that. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so we start off by pressing Star Wars and then the pipe operator. Then we're going to select the two variables height and species. Then the pipe operator again. And then we're going to filter and then double brackets. And then we want to filter the species to be either humans or droids. And by doing so, you need to select species and then a double equal mark. Because if you use a single equal mark, it will overwrite the name of the previous variable. So if you would type species is human, like this, human, then it would overwrite every human as species. And that's not what we want. We want to select the human species. So that's why you use a double equal mark. So we want species to be either be human in filtering, or, and make sure that you get the right sign for this. This is the or sign, so a straight up line. And then we want it to be species to be human, or we want species to be, well, two times the equal sign, and to be droids, and then close bracket again. So this is, close quotation marks and close brackets. So we want the species to be either human, or we want the species to be equal to droid. And it's important that you don't use the end sign in this case, because if you would use that, if you wouldn't use the straight or line, but you would replace it with an and, then you would only filter for characters which are human and droid. And those don't exist. You want humans or droids, and that's why you use the or function here in R. But that's not the only thing which we're going to filter for. We're also going to filter, and this time we use the and mark, the and sign, and then enter. And we also want to filter for height to be height to be higher than 160. And then you double close the brackets. And then last but not least, we want to use the pipe operator again, and then arrange function by height. Close the brackets, then the pipe operator again, and then view to make it a bit easier to interpret. And then we press Ctrl Enter. And then what we see in the new screen, you can see that we selected height and species, and we've only selected the humans and the droids. In this case, there are only two droids, respondent number 29 and respondent number 5, and we can see that every height value is over 160. So in this way, we filtered for both a categorical variable, being species, and a numerical variable, being height. There's another way in which you can do this to get the exact same result, and I'm gonna show that right now to end off today's episode. We're gonna use Star Wars, obviously, and then the pipe operator, and then select species and height again, species and height, and the pipe operator again, And then we're gonna use the filter. Then we're gonna use the filter species is, and then between percentage marks in, and then the concatenation of either human, comma, which means or droid. So in this way, you ask R to filter for the species which includes humans or droids. This is important. And then after the second bracket, you use the AND sign, because we're also gonna filter for height to be higher than 160 like we just did. And then you close the brackets, and then we use the pipe operator, and then we want to arrange for height. So this is, and then the pipe operator again, and then view to make it a little easier. Okay, so this is the exact same thing as we just did. We want to select species and height, and we want to filter for species which includes something of the concatenation of humans and droids. And if we then press Ctrl Enter, we get the same table as we just did, with the species with only 2 droids in it and the rest humans, and the height variables. Okay, so these are 2 ways in which you can filter a bit more sophisticatedly. So I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, then please leave a like on this video and subscribe. And for now, guys, I will see you guys on the next episode. Ciao.